As we mentioned many times yesterday, there is Viktor Marushenko School, established in 2004 and active, still active. It's an NGO, it's a private institution. There was Bird in Flight School, active in 2016 and 2020, and the website, which was specialized in articles about Ukrainian photography. Both, I assume, are on hold since 2020, and the website since 2022. There is MIF, Mykolaiv Young Photographers School, established in 2011 in Mykolaiv by Sergei Melnichenko, and it's also a private institution. And we see already sort of a new generation of photographers trained in this school and quite actively exhibiting and taking part in various photo contests in Europe and in Ukraine. There was a photo fair called Photo Kiev, established in 2017, and the last edition was in 2022. Again, private initiative. The magazines that we already mentioned yesterday, 5.6, and then another one called Salute, established in 2021, and so far there are two issues. One was on female photographers, the first one, and the second one about the 90s. And you see the covers of the 90s issue over there. There is a website called Untitled, established in 2020, where some profiles of Ukrainian photographers can be found, and some articles. As far as I know, is still active. And then there is a Ukrainian Photographic Alternative, UFA, established in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, and then they published a huge compendium, which I'm sure some of the colleagues saw, the big pink book, featuring 57 photographers and 82 projects, all Ukrainian photographers. It's called UFA Made in Ukraine. So anyone interested in Ukrainian photographers, I encourage you to look for this book. It's bilingual, Ukrainian and English. There is an online platform, Ukrainian.Photographies, and Max Gerbatsky will tell us more about this initiative later today. And then when we talk about education, the National Academy of Visual Arts and Architecture in Kyiv doesn't have a photography department, but there is a department called Multimedia and Visual Arts, and there is a course on photography which is pretty short, but nevertheless it's there. Then there is a course on photography which is called Education and Professional Program Photography at Kyiv National University of Theatre, Cinema and Television, named after Karpenko-Kary. And Kharkiv, I think not least because of the Kharkiv School of Photography, has two educational programs in photography. So it's all about employing a greater variety of photographic techniques and styles, and to be more active in interpretation, appropriation, reenactment, staging, transformative borrowing, and artists' interest in like intervening physically with the photographs taken by them or other people.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that, in the categorization as well. And I was wondering whether you think, because a lot of categorization of the last 2 centuries has been about the methodology of making, rather than necessarily the intention of telling stories or the ways in which, or the things that are being communicated. Mm-hmm. So I wondered how you felt about the relevance now of the sort of the isms, I suppose, given that so much of contemporary art is sort of activist in some way, and you know, there seems to be collections and ways of thinking about art which is perhaps not connected to the methodology of making, but to the intention of the artist in terms of the real world rather than the art world.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, well, that's a very good question, and I guess especially for academics, this is the question we start with when we approach any project or any a particular photographer. What kind of attracted me in this idea of post-photography, that everyone who kind of talks about it emphasizes that it's not a style, it's not a methodology, it's not a historical moment, as with all the isms we know it happened. But it's more like, and I quote here Catalan photographer Joan Fontocuberta. He said this is like a retouring of visual culture. So this is kind of what I like, because it makes it kind of wide enough. But then, as you said, maybe it's not that much about how the images were made, but although I was talking about, you know, like appropriating and manipulating, etc. But yeah, about what the photographers are trying to achieve, what are their intents behind using this or that particular style or approach. So this is kind of a new relationship to the images, and that was. But this is not something defined. I was rather trying to suggest it as an open-end kind of question, as I'm not quite sure if this could work or not.
Thank you, Katya, for your presentation. As a person who is coming from more of a photojournalism background, it's not just about gender. Like, it's like we are second day talking about Ukrainian photography and stuff. In your view, where does war photography and photojournalism practices lay within contemporary Ukrainian photography in general? And let's say, as an example, Evgeny Malolietka won World Press Photo, and I heard from several photojournalists in the industry already that that project changing the game for photojournalism, how should be events like photographs or like in your country, and like it changes the game about insider-outsider perspective and things like that. So my question is like, where does all this war photography lays within contemporary Ukrainian photography?
Well, I think it's a huge topic that I hope we will discuss a little bit in the last panel today. We didn't really delve into it, into war photography, and I think it's, of course, I mean, clearly it's huge in Ukraine now. So I try to focus on this more kind of artistic projects instead of talking about photojournalism and documentality, but of course it is very important. And as you said, I think reportaging, war reportage from Ukraine would change and is changing already the kind of the rules of the game a little bit. We still, I guess, need more time and distance maybe a little bit to process it. This morning I read the news that Держkino, the organization that occupies deals with cinematography in Ukraine, wants to implement this program on documenting war crimes, and this is clearly a manipulation, especially when it comes to feature films, because it's not a documentation of a war. But this is kind of a hot topic now in Ukraine. So obviously, this is like the buzzwords that they used to get money from the government, clearly. And this is also another danger, I think, that there are so much produced already, and there are so many initiatives documenting on very different levels that then inevitably we would need to have some kind of filters, no, how to deal with all this documentation. And it's clear that there is this urge and there is this desire to document, because this is a very particular experience that Ukrainian people are living through, and the contemporary technologies allow them to document things. Yeah, so it's very easy to take a photo or video. So this is another huge topic, and I think we need kind of another conference to talk about it.